a webinar on this particular topic. And this topic is started from very, very fundamental observation. Actually, when I have joined this institute, then a group of first-year students came to me, and they're trying to understand what is sliding mode control. And you know that sliding mode control is one of the nonlinear control technique. And first-year student has almost no knowledge of control system. So somehow, I think for at least 2 to 3 months, how to teach them sliding mode control. Same kind of things I'm going to present in today's lecture. So I'm going to start my lecture, a transition from PID, proportional integral derivative. So these operators means proportional operator, integral operator, or derivative operator. You might have seen that Newtonian calculus. So basically, all Newton, before studying physics, he has introduced one calculus also, one applied mathematics, such that he is able to interpret the system. So I am taking that kind of operator. Obviously, it is very, very famous PID controller. Almost all of you already well aware about this controller. And to sliding mode. And this is nonlinear control technique. So I'm going to tell you the intuition, basically, how basically PID control comes into picture. And after that, why still in 95% of industry is still using PID controller, and why basically we need some kind of transition from PID controller to another controller, or what kind of improvement one can suggest for the PID controller. So let us start our talk. So before starting my talk, I am going to first clarify one point, that whenever you turn on any book, first you might have seen that system means either you can read biological book, finance book, everywhere people are talking about system. But most of time they are not defining the system. And definition of system for each area means in economics, in biology, or other branches, somehow that is not correlated, that is little bit different. So due to that reason, first I have to fix the definition in this class for our purpose. So what we are telling that whenever I have some kind of system, so I am talking about physical system first, and after that I will tell you what is meaning of abstract system. So physical system means I have some kind of input data, and after that if I apply input data to that system, then I will get some kind of output data. And you might have agree with me that all input and output data is somehow means whatever instrument we are developed to measure these kind of input and output data, that is belongs to some kind of real number. Due to that reason, whenever we are defining physical system, at that time we are assuming that whatever input I am going to apply, that is some kind of real number, whatever output I am getting, that is again a real number. But for calculation purpose, we can use some kind of complex number also. So complex number is somehow hidden inside the system, but whatever input and output I am getting, that is real number. Now let us try to see what is meaning of abstract system. So actually physical system, I try to capture that physical system with certain set of mathematical equations that might be algebraic equation, some kind of differential equation, stochastic equation, or different fractional order equation. And after that, again, same set of input we are applying and try to observe the output. So here, one thing we have to maintain, since we are talking about engineering system, so we are assuming that if I apply the input and I have certain information of the physical variable, then uniquely, so this point is very, very important, uniquely I can measure the output. So whatever output for some particular input we are getting, that should be unique. Otherwise, engineering system will confuse, and that system has no practical relevance. And due to that reason, Newton first observed that whatever abstract system means physical system modeled by some kind of differential equation, that will satisfy the property of function. So there are two things in mathematics, that is relation, another is function. So relation means somehow they are relating input and output, and at that time output may or may not be unique. But whenever we are talking about function, at that time whatever input I am going to apply, So output should be unique. And due to that reason, if you turn on the calculus book, most of time they are talking about function, means they are starting from first chapter and after that they are running up to last chapter. Everywhere they are talking about function, function, function. So I am assuming that whatever our physical system I am going to build and whatever mathematical system I am going to analyze, all will satisfy the property of function. It means that if I apply some kind of input, I have certain kind of initial state, then uniquely I am able to predict or talk about the output. It means that we are interested in future, means either we want to shape our future. So what kind of input will give us the specific kind of future? So let us try to see the purpose of the discussion. So first I have fixed the definition of system, and after that now I am going to come to the analysis of that particular system. So purpose of the discussion to introduce the audience to the latest effective and easily applicable method of control under heavy uncertainty condition. Again, you can see that I am talking about heavy uncertainty condition. It means that I have certain kind of physical system, and if you try to model that physical system using some kind of mathematical equation, always certain kind of mismatch is there. So this kind of mismatch is somehow external uncertainty or parametric uncertainty, people are telling. Another uncertainty that enter inside the system, that is due to measurement. So whatever mass, suppose we are during the formulation of or analysis, we have to measure the mass, and you all are knowing that I cannot measure any quantity very, very precisely. Always some kind of limitation in measurement exists, and due to that reason, that is again another form of uncertainty going to enter inside the system. And due to that reason, whatever control system we are going to design, that should be robust. Robust means even if we are not knowing certain parameters, certain data precisely, even if whatever output we are getting, that should be very, very precise, or that should be on our expectation. And due to that reason, robust control design technique, almost everywhere we are talking about robust design control technique. Now, another point I am going to highlight using this lecture, that these are very, very advanced results whenever we are talking about robust control, even if using PID controller. But in this lecture, I am going to use just simple and analytically, mathematically sound idea. So again, I have told you that almost everything is coming from the calculus, and calculus is actually developed by Newton. So in this whole lecture, I am just going to talk about the Newton's 3 law, and based on Newton's 3 law, I am going to tune all kind of controller, PID controller, on-off controller, and sliding mode controller. So I am not going to talk anything else except the Newton's law. So if you have idea of Newton's law, you are able to understand the fundamental of control system. And at the end of lecture, audience will able to understand the physical interpretation of PID. So one more important thing I will tell you, that suppose I have certain system, so I can do experiment, I will collect the data, and based on that collected data, we are making some kind of conclusion. Another way, without collecting data, we are using the fundamental principle, and after that, based on that fundamental principle, we are talking about some kind of result. So I have two different kind of behavior. One behavior is quantitative behavior, one behavior is qualitative behavior. So in qualitative behavior, we are always talking about some kind of approximate behavior, means we are not going to do the experiment, real experiment, and but understanding about the system, we are going to talk about the system. And somehow, if you know the qualitative analysis of system, then it is possible to show that you are able to design new different tools to control the system. Due to that reason, most of time I like qualitative analysis rather than quantitative analysis, because sometimes experiment is very, very costly. Suppose I have to design some kind of controller for aeroplane system, then I cannot build or I cannot purchase aeroplane in each and every institute of the India due to that reason. But if I have certain kind of analysis tool, still, even if I have no aeroplane, but I can talk about the control of aeroplane. Due to that reason, qualitative analysis is very, very important. And after the completion of this lecture, you are able to understand that how to perform qualitative analysis and tune the controller gain if my system is affected by some kind of uncertainty. And this approach is especially useful for the following class of system: power plant industry, electrical motor design, any kind of targeting and tracking problem. I will define what is meaning of targeting and tracking problem, robotics, avionics, signal and image processing. And I have written one quote that memory is selective and so one remembers random events. And due to that reason, I do not believe to remember something. So try to understand, try to analyze something. Then what happens? You are able to analyze your system whenever you are sleeping also. So let us come to the main part of the lecture. So you can see that I have considered one system, physical system, and that physical system is underwater vehicle. Actually, first year student come with this project, underwater vehicle. Due to that reason, I am going to start from this underwater vehicle. So if you see the underwater vehicle, you might have seen that here are so many components that is involved in this particular system. So if you are going to do mathematical model of this complete system, then it is very, very difficult, because you should know the electronics engineering, you have to know the mechanical engineering, you have to also know the certain part of structure engineering, you have to know the computer science. And if you want to combine everything, then model becomes so much complex that it is not tractable, means you are not able to design something, or you are not able to tell anything about this. So it means that whenever we are doing mathematical model of certain system, always you have to become very, very specific. So suppose that if you are electronics engineer, then you have to just see the electronics part of this system and you have to talk the mathematical model of that particular quantity. So basically here we are control engineers, and so I have to understood the objective of this particular vehicle, underwater vehicle. So you might have seen, or you all are aware with this, that whenever I have underwater vehicle, then only our aim to move underwater vehicle from one point to another point, and that is called some kind of control problem. So either you have to move from one point to another point with some kind of constant velocity, or with some kind of time varying velocity, or somewhere you have to stop that underwater vehicle. So basically what happens, that this complicated, out of this complicated model, I have to select some model that should be simple. And why I am telling that for one system I have several mathematical model? Try to again come to the function. I have told you that whatever system we are going to talk, that satisfies some kind of property of function. It means that I have input relation and I have output relation. Now if someone tell you that select some kind of intermediate system such that I can correlate input to output, and in this way you might be aware that if I have input data and output data, so in finite many way I can map input to output, and due to that reason for some particular system we have infinite many model, and always model based we are choosing based on our convenience, based on our objective. So here first I have to see our objective very, very carefully, and here in this particular system our objective is to move this vehicle from one point to another point, either with constant velocity or time varying velocity, and we have to stop somewhere. It means that we have to just see the dynamical equation. Dynamical equation means how dynamics of this system is changing whenever they are moving from one point to another point. And due to that reason, now I will forget everything and I am going to select some kind of simplified model, and that is based on Newton's law. F equal to ma, means second law, rate of change of momentum equal to force. So and particularly if mass is constant, then we are writing F equal to ma. So here you can see that for simplicity, I'm assuming that mass of this underwater vehicle is unity, but you can scale it out. And v is velocity, so I have mass multiplied by acceleration, that is v dot, and u bar is the thrust provided to the propeller to move this underwater vehicle from one point to another point. Whenever some vehicle, either they move inside water or in air, always some friction force is going to act. And you all are well aware that friction force is always opposes our motion. So if you move inside the water, experimentally people have observed that whatever friction or whatever viscous force that is going to act on the system, that is proportional to the square of the velocity. But you can see the behavior of the force. If you move in forward direction, then force in backward direction. If you move in backward direction, then force is in forward direction. And due to that reason, in place of v square, I have written v mod v. It means that v will provide us sign, and finally I am getting the force v mod v, that is equal to v square in the opposite direction of the motion. And d, I have already told you that even if you can use any mathematics, always there exists certain kind of approximation. So due to that reason, we are always assuming some certain kind of uncertainty. And whenever underwater vehicle is moving inside water, you might have seen that sometime water wave is unpredictable. Due to that reason, I am assuming some d is acting on the system. So in this way, by keeping mind of our objective that I have to move underwater vehicle from one point to another point, I have selected this mathematical model, simple mathematical model. You can see that now here I am going to emphasize one important point. Whenever you are doing mathematical model, at that time you are doing lot of assumption. So here, in order to calculate force, I have assuming that v dot will exist. It means that whatever velocity that is going to generate due to this underwater vehicle, that should be differentiable. It means that v should be continuous also, because if some function is not continuous, then that is not differentiable. I have to use Newton's law to capture the dynamics. So I am assuming that all mass of this system is centered at the center of mass, and due to that reason I am assuming point mass. That is another assumption. So with lot of assumption, and after that again another assumption that whatever friction force that is going to act, that is a square of velocity, that is another assumption. So if you assume everything, so whatever model I have written, that is only valid in some limited space, that is not valid everywhere. So whenever you are talking about Newton's law, so Newton's law is also not valid everywhere. That is always valid in some small region only, where, because if you see Newton's second law, at that time I am talking about F equal to ma. At that time I am assuming mass is point mass, and after that x should be 2 times differentiable, means whatever position that is going to generate, that should be 2 times differentiable. So due to that reason, we are telling that whatever law that is given by Newton's, that is not valid everywhere. Now I have already told you the control objective. So I have to control an objective, either I have to stop the vehicle or move with some kind of a specific velocity. So whenever we have to move with some specific problem, so control engineer that tells that problem as a tracking problem. So they are telling that tracking problem means you have to track some non-zero quantity. And what is meaning of stabilization problem? So stabilization problem, somehow I have to stop something, so I have to track zero quantity. So somehow I have two different problem now only. Either I have to track something or I have to stabilize something, means I have to keep Vd equal to 0. But please be careful, I am telling Vd equal to 0 in presence of disturbance. So disturbance is always active, but I have to stop the underwater vehicle. Disturbance is always active, but we have to move the underwater vehicle with certain speed, and due to that reason, this control objective or control problem is called robust control problem. So in this simulation, just I am telling that what is meaning of stabilization problem and what is meaning of tracking problem. So stabilization problem means if I have some non-zero quantity, so I have to make it 0 for all time greater than equal to some t0. means whatever specified time I have supplied. Similarly, tracking problem means I have to track some quantity. So now let us try to see that these two problems are equivalent or not. So these two problems is not always equivalent, but in some particular case that is equivalent. So before talking about the equivalence, let us try to see that what is meaning of the tracking problem. So suppose I have to track some signal VD. VD is desired signal. So user has provided me some kind of reference signal that is VD, and I am assuming that whatever VD they have provided, that is time varying also. So if VD is time varying, so you can see that here this V is coming from the system, mathematical model of system that is coming to us, that is V, and VD is given by the user, that is reference signal. So since even if VD will not vary with time, so this V that is changing with respect to time, due to that reason error is also changing with respect to time. So error also gets certain kind of dynamics, and due to that reason I have calculated dE by dt. But during the calculation of dE by dt, you can see that V is always differentiable, because I am assuming that my system is modeled using some kind of Newton's law. So I have assumed that velocity is one time differentiable. So there is no problem with this first term V dot. But you can see that here second term, that is V dot. So VD dot, that should be differentiable. If that is not differentiable, then I cannot talk about the rate of change of error. And due to that reason, we are telling that tracking problem, whenever we are making some kind of equivalence between tracking problem and stabilization problem, at that time I am assuming that whatever reference signal, that should be differentiable. And after that, now task is easy. Just you can put V dot from that mathematical equation to here, and after that you can select this kind of control action. So you can see that since I am assuming that reference signal is available to me, I am also assuming that their derivative is also available to me. So if you are assuming that VD dot is available, because whatever control I am going to design, so every term inside control should be known or well defined, and due to that reason I am assuming that VD dot is defined. After that, you can see that we already know from the experiment that whatever friction kind of force that is going to act on the system, that is a square of velocity, and due to that reason I have put that term inside the control action, and this term I have to design. So here you can see that in this control U bar, VD dot, that is provided by the user. V mod V, I know that this kind of uncertainty is going to come into the system, and due to this uncertainty, what happens? My system is no longer linear. Linear means the power of this quantity should be 1. Otherwise, this becomes non-linear. So somehow I am going to apply some kind of control such that our closed loop system become linear, because linear system has lot of beautiful property, and due to that reason, using some kind of feedback mechanism, I am going to cancel all kind of non-linearity, and this cancellation V mod V is called feed forward action. So I know that this kind of uncertainty due to water is going to hit the system, so I have designed this term in advance and try to cancel it. So whenever you are designing some kind of control action that contain two particular terms, one term is called feedback, so and another term is called feed forward. So actually, what is meaning of feed forward? So in advance, you are knowing that this much of uncertainty is going to hit the system. So in advance, you have applied that much of uncertainty. And what is meaning of feedback? So you have run your system. Whenever error comes into picture, then you are going to apply some kind of action. So one action is corrective action and another is reactive action. So corrective action means I already know that this kind of uncertainty is going to hit. So I have actually modeled that particular uncertainty and going to put inside my control action. So that is feed forward. So that is corrective action. Another is reactive action. So my system is already damaged. Error already happens. So I am going to now mitigate that error. So that is meaning of reactive. Due to that reason, lot of people are telling that if you have knowledge of system, so try to make that part, feed forward part, as much larger as possible, because that is corrective action. But still that is dangerous, because if you are not knowing the term exactly, then that might destabilize your system also. So this is a story about feed forward and feedback. Now try to see the stabilization problem. What is meaning of stabilization problem? I have to stop this vehicle. It means that Vd, desired velocity, should be 0. So E equal to V. So somehow now I can talk in original coordinate frame, and at that time if I apply this much amount of control, now because Vd dot, that is exactly 0, because I have to track 0 only, I have to stop my vehicle, and due to that reason same mathematical equation V dot equal to uv plus d comes into picture. So what is a story? A story is that if you have to track some non-zero quantity, then first you can define everything in terms of error and design feedback mechanism in terms of error. But if you have to just stop some vehicle, then there is no need to design control system in terms of error. Then you can design in actual coordinate frame, and that is called a stabilization problem. And mathematically there is no difference between this system and this system, just you can replace E by V. And due to that reason, people are telling that a stabilization problem is exactly equal to the tracking problem, provided Vd dot is differentiable. If Vd dot is not differentiable, then I have to talk separately about tracking problem and separately about the stabilization problem. Some of you might have applied some kind of PID control to the system, and at that time you try to track some kind of triangular wave or some kind of a square wave. You might have seen that whenever some transition point occur, at that time some kind of unexpected response comes into picture. It means that completely you are not able to track, and that kind of problem basically come due to the differentiability of this signal, because triangular signal or some kind of a square signal is not differentiable at the transition point. So you might have observed, some of you, I hope that you are working with some kind of PID controller and you are applying in some kind of physical circuit or some kind of inverter, converter, or some kind of power system. At that time you might have observed this. So due to that reason, since these two problems are equivalent, if Vd is differentiable, so in this course or in this lecture I am just going to talk about the stabilization problem, because now whenever tracking problem comes into picture, I will define everything in terms of error, and after that I will apply same kind of technique. One more important point I am going to share here, that even if Vd dot is not known to me, but if Vd dot is bounded, then d minus Vd dot is again acts like some kind of uncertainty. So for robust control design technique, just we have to make sure that signal is differentiable, but there is no need to know the exact value or the exact value of Vd dot. So even if I know the inexact value of Vd dot, still I am able to design the control action. Now let us come to the control part. So this control action, that is proportional, integral, or derivative control action, I have told you that 95% of industry all over the world is still using the PID controller. So you have to understand carefully that why people are using PID controller, what is benefit and what is drawback also. So means what is structure of PID controller? I have certain kind of process. So here you can take underwater vehicle or any process, whatever. Now you can take any process. After that you have some certain kind of reference point. People are generally in control system telling that point as a set point, and this is output. So we are basically comparing output with set point, and whatever error that is going to generate based on the three different kind of scaling. So here you can see that at some particular moment t, some error is going to generate, and that error is et. So I have scaled that error with some kind of constant kp greater than 0, and after that I am going to apply that action here. So it means that whenever we are building some kind of proportional action, that is nothing but the information of the present. Now try to see the physical interpretation of second block. So second block, what I am telling that again same error I am going to feed through some kind of integral block, and this is definite integral from 0 to t, and after that by scaling this integral by ki I am going to apply to the process. So try to see the physical interpretation of this, and I hope that you all are well aware that integral of some quantity is nothing but the area under curve. It means that in order to calculate integral from 0 to t, so what is geometrical picture of this? Somehow I have to do integration from this point, starting point to this particular point t. Due to that reason we are integrating 0 to t, and you can tell you can also tell that that is nothing but continuous summation, and that is nothing but past. It means that this action, whenever we are applying this action, we have to know all past value from the starting point of our experiment to this point. Now let us come to the third block, that is derivative block. So if you see the physical interpretation of derivative, that is nothing but tangent at some point. And whenever we are talking about tangent, it means that I am somehow try to predict the future. It means that whenever we are applying PID action, it means that we are assuming that I have information of present, I have information of past, I have information of future. So if you have information of present, past and future of the error trajectory, then only you are able to design this kind of control action. Otherwise, you are not able to design the control action. Now, you know here that I have information of time, I have information of present, I have information of past, I have information of future. So I have almost all information, and if I have almost all information, then obviously our control system is better. But now question is that, is it possible to believe on this, that all information are available? Nowadays it is era of network control system. So in network control system, what basically we are doing, means operator is sitting inside some room, and from room they are trying to control some plant. Now you can see that if this proportional action will act, then that is not a problem. It might possible some delay, with some delay this action will work. But try to see the second block. So second block, in order to apply second block, they have to know past information, and everything is on network. Suppose now you are knowing that, means we have another bad people, that is called hacker. They might hack our data and they will change somewhere our data. Then what happens? Whatever control system I have designed here, that might destabilize our plant. And suppose our nuclear plant, take example of nuclear plant that is actually working on some kind of network, or some kind of aeroplane that is working on that is actually making some kind of trajectory based on network control system. And if they will change this second block, they will put some kind of dummy signal here, then what happens? Our control system will destabilize the plant. Due to that reason, we are telling that whatever past information, that is not too reliable. Present, we are assuming that is reliable, because hacker also have to make their some kind of subsystem such that they will know our present information. And present information is so fast that it is very, very difficult to hack. Now, future information. Most of time, we are not actually knowing about the future, because future action is heavily influenced by the uncertainty. Due to that reason, I cannot also believe on the future information. So what kind of information one can only believe in this present era? I can only believe on the present information. But suppose if some plant is actually running inside closed room, so at that time there is no need, there is no worry of about the hacker. So okay, I am assumed that I have all past data. We know that what kind of uncertainty is going to hit, so I have information of the future also, and present information obviously I have. So at that time, since I have information of present, past and future, so PID controller is best suited control for that particular plant. And most of plant, 99% of 95% of plant which is running inside this world, that is actually means their working environment is most of time that is closed environment. And due to that reason, I can believe that past, present and future all information are available. So now even you know present, past and future information is available. Another difficulty is that you have to design KP, KI and KD. So another set of difficulty now comes into picture, that how to tune KP, KI and KD. These values are fixed or they are depending on some quantity, and due to that reason again you have to relook into these two KP, KI and KD. But suppose that most of time now several plant is running on the network control system, because now everything is going to shift. So now I can only believe on one information, that is information of present. So we are going to see the possibility that if I have just present information, so using proportional action, what kind of control I can design. Because in network control system, I cannot rely on past information and future information. And due to that reason, somehow I have to rely on the present information. And again, if I know some higher level of mathematics, even if all information is available, then I can choose KP, KI and KD very wisely, such that I will get some kind of appropriate response. And due to that reason, the main discussion of today's lecture in two folds. So first fold, I am going to assume that if I have just present information, then is it possible to get same kind of response, same kind of output, whatever we are getting from all three information. And another thing, I am going to assume that if I have three information, then how to design KP, KI and KD with help of Newton's law. So let us try to start this part of the lecture. So I am assuming that I have just information of present, and that is, it means that I am only able to apply the proportional control. And in the whenever I have taken model, so again I am going to show you that model. So basically I have talked about this stabilization problem I have told you. So here you can see that if you apply U bar here, then my system is V dot equal to UV plus D. Now let us try to see here. This is just first order differential equation in terms of V. So in terms of position, this is first order differential equation. Now I have to design UV, this UV, or you can, if you consider the PID controller, then you have to use UE. And I have told you that both problem is somehow equivalent. So just discuss about the stabilization. So I have to design somehow UV, and that is function of V, and after that I have to talk about the response of this closed loop system. So initially I am assuming that just present information is available. So due to that reason I have designed control action. You can see here that minus KP into V. Here I am assuming that KP greater than 0. So I am going to tell you that why KP greater than 0 I am going to select. First I am assuming that whatever physical system and whatever mathematical model I have built, means abstract system, that is exactly the same, and my setup is running inside some kind of closed room. Due to that reason I am assuming that D equal to 0. Later I will introduce some kind of D also. So here you can see that after application of this control action, my closed loop system is V dot equal to minus KP into V, and after that I am assuming that my underwater vehicle has certain kind of initial velocity at t equal to 0 when I have started this experiment, that is something V0. So it means that water is running, and if you put means your vehicle inside water, so they are actually flowing with water. So due to that reason I am assuming Vt0 equal to V0, and this is first order autonomous system. Autonomous system means after applying the control, you can see that here I have everything in coordinate of V only. So my means constant means parameter is KP, but variable is V, and I have assumed that I am going to work in velocity coordinate frame, and velocity belongs to some kind of real number, and due to that reason this is first order differential equation. Now try to see the geometrical picture of this particular first order differential equation. So whenever some quantity we are telling first order, it means that their degree of freedom is very, very limited, so they can only move along some line. That is the meaning of one dimension. What is meaning of two dimension? That is that can move on some plane, and if we are telling that something is on a space, means R3, so they can move in 3 dimension, and similar way we are generalizing the dimension. So for simplicity, I am assuming that I have certain kind of 1 dimension, so I have drawn this kind of line. And during school time you might have seen that whenever we are telling that some quantity is belongs to R, means real number, then we are drawing this kind of line. So I have two set of velocity. It might possible initial velocity is positive or initial velocity is negative. Now try to see that what is the rate of change of velocity, v dot. So in order to calculate v dot, if I know v somewhere, then I can talk about the v dot, because here I know I have fixed kp greater than 0 and negative sign is here. So my v is positive, and after that you can see that v dot is negative. Why v dot is negative? Because v I am going to put some kind of constant quantity v0, and that is positive. So and kp is positive, so positive multiplied by positive and with negative sign. So since v is belongs to R, so their rate of change is also belongs to R, and due to that reason again I have redrawn same line, and I am going to show v and v dot on the same line. Now try to see that as what happens. Now v is positive but v dot is negative. So if v is positive and rate of change of some quantity is negative, then what happens? We move in this direction, means decrement direction. Now come to the left hand side. Left hand side you can see that v is negative, and if v is negative then this becomes positive. So what happens? I start moving on the right hand side. So what happens that you can start anywhere, and if kp is positive, then finally you start moving towards this point, that is v equal to 0. Let us now try to see that behavior at v equal to 0. So if you are at v equal to 0, then your v dot equal to 0, means rate of change is 0. It means that if you start from 0, you are not going to move if system has no disturbance, d equal to 0. So due to that reason I can apply first law of Newton's, that since I have velocity equal to 0, there is no force or forcing force. Now because I am just talking about in coordinate frame where I have velocity and rate of change of velocity, and due to that reason I am telling that if you start from this point, you are going to stay here. So let us try to summarize the observation in terms of control system. So from this point you can see that if you have certain quantity v, that is position like quantity, so velocity I am going to interpret now as a position. You can interpret. So here if you are working on thermal engineering, then you can interpret velocity as a temperature and t dot as a rate of change of temperature. So again you can able to apply the Newton's law. So now even if in electrical system, suppose that if you have q, so q you can interpret charge as a position, and dq by dt, whatever current that is come, that is rate of change of charge, that as a velocity. So similar way now I can generalize this, that is called idea of equilibrium point. Equilibrium point means if you start somewhere and you are going to stay there forever, then that is called equilibrium point. So basically now what you can do, if you have here I have just taken a scalar differential equation, now you can take vector differential equation. And vector differential equation, v is basically now not belongs to R, that belongs to R2. Again if you put v dot equal to 0, means v is here vector, so you can assume that v inside v I have x1 and x2, so x1 and x2 equal to 0, so you are going to stay there. Now what happens? All trajectory are converging towards equilibrium point. You all have seen that if I start anywhere, either in left hand side and right hand side, what is my behavior? I have this kind of behavior, and due to that reason I am telling that all trajectory, if I have this kind of system, then I have converging kind of behavior. Now just you can replace this negative sign by positive sign. Then what happens? That now direction becomes opposite, because v is positive and v dot is also positive. So we start diverging. Means we start moving, and my direction of movement become this. So I have two different kind of behavior, that is called a stable behavior and unstable behavior. So if you apply minus kp into v, then we will get a stable behavior. But if you apply plus Kp into V, then you are getting unstable behavior. It means that if you start with any initial condition, as time is going to progress, your initial condition is going to become larger and larger, because here I have just 3 direction of movement. Here you can see that somewhere if I start, I am going to stay. So I am in rest position. Either I can move in left direction or right direction. So due to that reason, for first order system, it is very easy to tell that what set of value Kp and what is direction of movement. One more important point, if value of Kp is higher, then you can see that quickly you are able to converge towards the equilibrium point. And one more important point, as you are converging towards the equilibrium point, what value, means bigger value can take? Finally, V dot is very, very small, because if V, second term V is very, very small, then their multiplication is small. And due to that reason, if you are decreasing towards equilibrium point, but after some time, what happens? Your rate of change of decrement is very, very small. So due to that reason, infinite time is required from moving from here to here. And if disturbance is there, then you cannot do this kind of conclusion, because again some forcing force or rate of change of Vd is due to this disturbance also. So if you have no disturbance, then you can see that using this slide I have introduced 3 different notions. So one notion is the notion of equilibrium point, another notion of stability and instability. Stability means we are moving towards equilibrium point or we are diverging. Another kind of convergence. Convergence is called asymptotic convergence. Asymptotic, why asymptotic? Because V dot, if we multiply Kp into V, that become very, very small in neighborhood of 0. So 3 different kind of notion one can understand from this particular simple slide based on Newton's law only. Because here Newton's law is telling if V is positive and V dot is negative, then we can move in this direction. Now let us try to see the same kind of slide when D is non-zero. And here I am going to assume that D is non-zero, but D is function of velocity. So if my velocity is higher, then uncertainty is higher. If velocity is smaller, then uncertainty is smaller. Another important thing, I am going to assume that V equal to 0 at the equilibrium point. So if that is 0, then now you try to see here that what happens, that if I select Kp is the gain of controller and D0 is coming from the disturbance, that is maximum value of disturbance. Again, you can see that if Kp is greater than this second term D0 sin V is plus 1 plus V greater than 0 minus 1 for V less than 0. So if I put Kp that is greater than D0, then what happens? Again, I have similar kind of behavior like first slide where I have no disturbance. So what is physical interpretation? That if my control gain is higher than the value of the disturbance, then what happens? We have same behavior like whatever we have observed in the previous class, previous slide when I have no disturbance. Okay, so it means that for this class of uncertainty, means that is called vanishing uncertainty. Vanishing uncertainty means when we are at V equal to 0, then whatever value of this uncertainty, that is equally 0. That is the meaning of vanishing uncertainty. So we have same kind of behavior, and due to that reason, whenever we are making proportional controller, we are telling that proportional controller is also robust or with respect to certain class of disturbance. And what is that class of disturbance? That is called vanishing disturbance. So proportional vanishing disturbance, if it acts on the system, then my proportional control is enough to control that plant. And here, what I am telling that equilibrium point remains the same. All trajectory again converge towards the equilibrium point. Just I have to tune gain Kp greater than D0. So somehow you have to estimate the uncertainty, and after that you have to tune your gain Kp greater than 0. During experiment, you can just increase your gain Kp, and after some time you start seeing that after increment of gain, my response remains the same. Then just you can put 10 or 15% in your hand, and after that, in based on that technique, you can design the Kp. I have asymptotic convergence again, because as you are moving towards the equilibrium point, again the value of V become lesser and V dot rate of change is very, very small. Due to that reason, convergence behavior is again very, very sluggish. It means that it takes very large time to converge to the exact point 0. Practically that never happens. So now let us try to see the situation where this D0 is non-vanishing. It means that at origin also disturbance is acting, and that is realistic assumption. Why? Because even if you stop your underwater vehicle and water is flowing, then they will hit your underwater vehicle. Similarly, if your car is moving and if the wind is very, very huge or very, very high, they will affect your system. And due to that reason, I cannot assume that if system is on rest, then there is no disturbance. And due to that reason, now I am going to assume that here, whatever disturbance I am going to consider, that is bounded, because I cannot give any kind of, not build any kind of control if I have no such kind of assumption. If disturbance is unbounded, then I cannot do anything. So due to that reason, you might have seen that whenever we are talking about deterministic framework, at that time we are assuming that disturbance is bounded. I do not know about disturbance, but I know that what is maximum value of disturbance. If I know or do not know the maximum value of disturbance, then we are using adaptive control technique to estimate that disturbance. So, but for this particular lecture, I am not going to talk about adaptive control. Due to that reason, I am assuming that D is not known to me, but I know the D0, means that is somehow bounded by some maximum quantity. Based on experiment, people are predicting this quantity most of the time. Now, if D is non-vanishing, it means that at equilibrium point also disturbance is acting. At that time, my system is V dot equal to Kp V plus D. Now let us try to see the behavior. So you can see that if I start far away from the equilibrium point, again from the Newton's law, this is first order, so I have drawn this line, and any initial condition V is here, and V dot, in order to calculate V dot, I have to put Kp, I have to put the V0 at each and every point, and after that I have to know the D. So suppose that for study purpose, you can take any value of D, and here you can see that after some moment, what happens, since this D is non-vanishing, so that going to become dominate over Kp into V. So under that situation, now outside of this particular region, so I have drawn two regions. You can see that here in this region particularly, what happens that KPV is lesser than D. It means that value of control action after some time become lesser than D, and that always occur because V is going to become smaller and smaller. So even if you can select Kp little bit larger, but Kp into V, their product become lesser, and due to that reason D is going to dominate. So if you are outside, means if your velocity is higher, then you are going to convert. But after some moment in neighborhood of equilibrium point, you are getting the repelling behavior. It means that you can lose the convergence towards the equilibrium point, but you are always going to remain in this region. Why? Because outside of this region, you are getting some kind of attractive force, but inside this region, you are getting some kind of repelling force. So this region is called somehow invariant region. Invariant region means if you start from this region, it is possible to give guarantee due to Newton's law that you are going to remain inside this. So here system is no longer asymptotic stable. All trajectory are uniformly ultimately bounded. Uniformly ultimately bounded means you are able to calculate the bound of trajectory also if you know the maximum value of disturbance. That okay, trajectory is not going to converge to the equilibrium point, but that is going to leave the vicinity of the equilibrium point. Sometime for practical system design, this assumption is okay. Now, simple P is not better choice in presence of disturbance. But most of time, suppose that you launch some kind of satellite, and you might have seen that for whenever we are doing some kind of launching of satellite, we are making sure that our satellite should lie in geostationary orbit. So I cannot tolerate this small amount of disturbance also. So finally, I have to design such kind of control action such that what happens that I am going to make sure that if satellite will move due to some kind of external force or some kind of uncertainty. If they will leave their some kind of trajectory, then again they will come back to the original position. And due to that reason, we are just not design the proportional action, because what we have observed that if I have no disturbance, then proportional control is okay. There is no need to go for the future information or past information. If you have vanishing disturbance and your actuator, means using which we are applying the control, that is sufficiently strong, then again what you can do, you can apply proportional control. There is no need to apply integral or derivative control. But if you have some kind of non-vanishing disturbance at equilibrium point, and most of time in practical scenario that is the case, that we have some kind of constant disturbance that is going to act, or some kind of time varying disturbance is going to act at the equilibrium point. And due to that reason, proportional control is not the better choice. So due to that reason, we have to again involve more information. So up to here, what we have seen, that if I apply proportional control, then proportional control is robust with respect to some kind of disturbance, but not robust with respect to another disturbance. And due to that reason, means whenever we are talking about robustness, it means that we are talking about the complete compensation of the disturbance, and that is called insensitivity. Insensitivity means in presence of disturbance, also behavior of my system is exactly same like the disturbed system. That is meaning of insensitivity. So basically using proportional control, and if my disturbance is not vanishing, I cannot talk about the insensitivity. Robustness one can talk. Robustness is a little bit more general term. So here you can see that their system is again robust because they are going to lie inside this region. So I can tell that this region somehow, after applying this proportional control, even if this is non-vanishing, I am going to live here. But you cannot get insensitivity. So now try to see the another case when this kind of disturbance. You can see that at t equal to some time t0, and even if we are at equilibrium point, d is active, and due to that reason I have to involve the information of the past also. So now I am going to talk about the proportional integral control, because you might have seen that a lot of industry is using proportional plus integral control, not just proportional control, because they are well aware that some kind of constant disturbance, some kind of another class of disturbance is going to hit to the plant. So always some kind of constant offset, and how to mitigate that constant offset using some control action. And due to that reason, now I am going to add one more term inside my control action. So first term is due to present information, because Vt I am assuming that present value, and after that this is past. Why I am telling past? Because in order to do integral means I am collecting all past information from 0 to t. That is the physical interpretation of the integral. Now try to see the closed loop system. So if you see the closed loop system, so now closed loop system is not only has derivative term. Now they have integral term. So I cannot tell that this is as a first order differential equation. And whenever I do not have first order differential equation, then it is pretty difficult to apply Newton's law. So somehow I have to convert this first order differential integral equation into some equivalent of differential equation. So what I am going to do, I am going to assume some kind of variable z, and in this particular coordinate z, you can see that v dot equal to kp into v plus z, and if you take z dot, then here differential of integral comes into picture. So differential of integral will give v again, and here d dot comes into picture. So after transforming this, you can, after applying integral control, order of my system is going to increase by 1. So if you have first order system and if you apply integral action, then what happens? That order of your system becomes second. And whenever you have second order system, then actually your system becomes little bit complicated. Now let us come here again. Whenever we are talking about non-vanishing disturbance, I have two different choices. What is first choice? Here you can see that d might be constant but unknown. So constant unknown disturbance is going to hit my system, or constant offset or something is going to hit my system. So if I have constant, even if that is not known, So by using differential calculus, I can tell that d dot equal to 0. And due to that reason, we are telling that if d is constant, then in higher dimensional, means after applying the control action, my first order system is converted into higher order system, second order system, and in second order coordinate frame, you can see that there is no disturbance. So what we are telling that now, if d is constant, then my system become fully free of the disturbance. And if you are working with PI controller, some of you might working with PI controller. So whenever you have some kind of constant offset or constant disturbance, you might have seen that after application of PI controller, that is fully vanished. And why that will occur? This is the mathematical proof for that. Because after applying the integral action, what happens? My first order system is converted into second order system, and second order system is fully free from the disturbance. Because in V and Z coordinate, I have no any unknown term. But problem is that if d is time varying, so if d is time varying, so I cannot assume d dot equal to 0. So I have to do some kind of analysis. So first, you try to understand the geometrical analysis of this kind of second order equation, because now I cannot apply same kind of technique that I have some kind of line, I have just three direction of movement, either I can move forward, backward, or remains there. So I have to somehow see that how to analyze this second order system. So now our next aim to convert second order system into decoupled first order system. So what I am telling that in order to apply Newton's law, same like in the previous slide, if somehow I will convert this second order system into two decoupled first order system, then again I can apply the Newton's law. So now I am going to take certain help of linear algebra, and that is pretty easy because you all are knowing what is meaning of eigenvalue, how to calculate eigenvalue. So here you can see that first I am going to show you the one simulation. So simulation, what I have done, that same system I have taken V dot equal to u plus d, and I have taken constant disturbance. You can see that exactly that is going to converge to the 0. After that I replace that disturbance d equal to 2 sin t, and after that you can see that after some time this behavior means I am not going to converge to the equilibrium point. And so it means that PI control is able to reject the constant disturbance but unable to reject the time varying disturbance. Now try to see the geometrical interpretation of second order system, because after applying the integral action, what happens? My first order system is converted into second order system. So basically now I have this kind of system, V dot equal to Kp into V plus Z, and Z dot equal to Ki into V. Now whenever we are talking about second order, means we are somewhere here, and here you can see that you have infinite many possibility. If you are on this line, then you have two possibility. Either you can move in this direction or move in that direction, or best possibility that you are going to stay there. But here I have infinite many direction, and due to that reason I have to do some kind of coordinate transformation such that what happens, this Z and V axis is converted into x and x1 and x2 axis, and I will maintain lambda I, because you know that if I am on this axis and whatever multiplicative term, that if that is negative, then what happens, I will get behavior. So somehow we have to see the possibility to convert this system into this system, then I am able to design Kp and Ki. So what is main theme of this slide? That suppose I have some kind of constant disturbance, I know that constant disturbance is going to act on the system. After that, now I am the Kp and Ki. I am assuming that I have present information and past information, but I do not know again Kp and Ki. So how to design Kp and Ki? And due to that reason, this slide become very much helpful to you. So first you can write this representation, that is called state space representation. So in a state space representation, basically we are representing system in terms of matrix first order differential equation. So here you can see that eta is V and Z, whatever coordinate system I have taken in the previous slide. So V dot equal to Kp into V plus Z, and Z dot equal to Ki into V. So our coordinate is Z and V. So I have collected that coordinate inside this particular vector, and after that I have collected all other terms into A, and after that same kind of eta I am getting. And here you can see that Kp, Ki and 1 is here, and I can choose Kp and Ki based on our wish. So now what I am telling, there exists some kind of transformation, and that transformation T is 2 cross 2 matrix, because here eta you can see that that is 2 cross 1 matrix from here. So I am assuming that this T is 2 cross 2 matrix, and in this coordinate frame it is possible to show that if this lambda 1 and lambda 2 is the eigenvalue of this matrix A, then always I can find the transformation. So you can adjust Kp and Ki such that whatever lambda 1 and lambda 2 that become negative, because in this slide you have seen that after conversion from here to here, if lambda is negative, then you are able to move in this direction, and due to that reason what I am telling, you can arbitrarily you can adjust Ki and Kp, and after that just try to make that calculate the eigenvalue of this matrix. So this is very easy to calculate eigenvalue of matrix. I hope that you all are aware about how to calculate eigenvalue, and after that you can just put this, so you know the transformation also. And in this way what happens, finally I have decoupled first order system. I can again apply Newton's law. So how to select Kp and Ki? Just you have to choose Kp and Ki such that this matrix A has all eigenvalue that should be strictly negative, and in this way I can tune Kp and Ki. Now let us try to see the situation if D is not constant, if D is time varying. So if D is time varying, then what happens? You can see here in closed loop system, now I have certain kind of extra term also. So first means D cannot reject. So in this slide I am going to analyze another thing, that is proportional plus derivative action. So I am going to now involve the future information, because what we have observed, what happens if I have just present information, what happens if I have present plus past information. Now I am assuming that I have present and future information, and finally you can combine everything, means present, past and future information. So I have designed PD controller, and if you apply PD controller, then again you can see that everything remains same like the proportional controller. Just your disturbance is going to scale out. So what we are telling, that if you apply derivative action, then somehow your disturbance is going to scale out, and everything that remains like the proportional controller. So somehow if you apply PID controller, then your first order differential equation is converted into second order. Now suppose you have second order plant, and if you apply and second order plant with one input, and if you apply PID controller, then what happens? After applying the control, your whole plant becomes third order, and whatever matrix, this kind of matrix again comes into picture, that is 3 cross 3 matrix. Just you can assume that constant disturbance is going to act on the system, non-vanishing constant disturbance. Again here you can again able to decouple. Why always one can decouple? Because Kp Ki is always in my hand, so I can always give guarantee that there exists some kind of lambda I and lambda 2 which eigenvalue is negative. So that is guaranteed. So in third order, now I have 3 cross 3 matrix. In if you have third order system, if you apply PID controller, suppose you have first order system, first order control means one control input. If you have, then third order system is converted into fourth order. Again, now you have 4 cross 4 matrix A. Now just you have to make all eigenvalue equal to negative. So based on concept of eigenvalue, you are able to tune the controller, PI controller or PID controller. What if you have here, what this slide is telling, that if you have some kind of control action, some kind of disturbance, so disturbance is now, if that is time varying, and if you calculate D dot, then that is not vanishing, and due to that reason some unknown input is going to always hit the system, and at that time I cannot talk about the insensitivity. Insensitivity means whatever behavior of my system without, means suppose I have designed some kind of control, I am assuming that there is no disturbance, then whatever behavior of my system and whatever behavior in the realistic environment, that is not the same. So unknown input is always going to hit, and due to that reason, and now I will tell you that why I have to move to the another part of the story. What happens? Suppose that one car is moving in the open ground, so always air is going to hit, and you all are aware that air wave I can model as a periodic wave, and periodic wave can be expressed in terms of sine function and cosine function. And if you take the derivative, then that is not zero at the equilibrium point. And due to that reason, time varying disturbance is one of the important class of disturbance that is going to hit inside the system. So if time varying disturbance is hitting to my system, then how to talk about the insensitivity? That is our now the next motive of this particular lecture. So one more thing I'm going to tell you, that suppose you have just present information and you have system, and whenever I have system, then three things are involved. One thing, in order to measure the output, that is called the sensors. Whenever we are applying some kind of control action, we are applying control action using some kind of actuator. So I have actuator, I have sensor, and I have some kind of process. So actuator has always limitation. So I cannot apply any amount of control to the actuator. So suppose if you have some kind of DC motor, and using DC motor you are applying some kind of control action in some kind of robotic arm, then always you have limitation. Suppose that limitation you are only able to apply a signal between minus 20 volt to 20 volt. Then you have to tune your control gain such that whatever control action comes into picture, that fall and into that region. But suppose if you have pneumatic actuator, hydraulic actuator, so at that time you are able to apply high gain also, because limitation means range of those kind of actuator is very, very high. So in that situation, using just based on present information also, one can suppress the uncertainty. And due to that reason, means you might have seen that whenever we are using some kind of braking system, so that is means braking system inside railway or other place, they are not using some kind of electrical actuator, they are using some kind of pneumatic actuator, because at that time I can apply huge amount of force. So how basically acting, you try to understand from this again first order system. So now since actuator can tolerate high amount of control action, and due to that reason, now you can again take proportional control and divide by 1 by tau, where tau tending towards 0. So this control action is very, very huge. And if you apply this kind of control action, so I can multiply both sides by tau of this closed loop system, and if tau tending towards 0, so you can see that what happens, tau v dot that equal to 0, tau d equal to 0, so finally kp into v equal to 0, so v equal to 0. So it means that if my actuator can tolerate sufficiently large control signal, then proportional control is enough. There is no need to apply integral control and derivative control. Now next question, same kind of things I have shown using simulation. Slowly I am increasing the gain, and after that I am going to see the behavior. So last behavior, finally I come to the equilibrium point. Now next is that, means this control is called high gain controller, because we are using huge gain to the system. So now same kind of phenomena, means here you can see that disturbance is completely rejected. So now I am going to see that suppose I have limited control action. Suppose I have electrical actuator, so I can only able to apply some signal between 20 volt, minus 20 volt to plus 20 volt. So is it possible to achieve same kind of behavior if I have some kind of time varying disturbance, and that is non-vanishing, means that is not zero at the 0? And answer of this question is yes, and that is nothing but on-off control. So if you apply on-off control, and here if you define on-off control like this. So first, in order to understand the idea, you can assume v equal to 0. This is 0. This function, I have to design this signum function v, and here you can see that that is little bit different function I have used. I am assuming v equal to 0, that is not 0. But for time being, you can assume v equal to 0 equal to 0. And after that, again based on Newton's law, because here whatever closed loop system, v dot equal to minus k signum v, where signum v, when v greater than 0, that is plus 1, and v less than 0, that is minus 1, again that is first order system. So if you start on the right hand side, then v0 initial condition is 0, v0, and that is positive, and if that is positive, then and for time being you can assume d equal to 0, and after that I will tell you how to tackle d. So basically, if d is not present and v is positive, then what happens? V dot is negative. So if v is positive, v dot is negative, then again by Newton's Newton's law, I can move towards the equilibrium point. And suppose now D is there, and if you put K, gain of this controller is greater than dt, so even if for any small v, this gain remains constant, because signum v is only generate the direction, that is not going to generate any magnitude. In case of proportional controller, what is problem? Because here this quantity is going to scale, but here I am applying some kind of constant gain, because either I am applying minus k or plus k if I am not at equilibrium point, and due to that reason always I have this kind of behavior. Now one more important thing you try to see here, suppose I am going to interpret v as a position vector. Now v dot is nothing but velocity vector. So suppose that if you have some initial position and if you are moving with constant velocity, because here v dot I am assuming as a x, v as a position and v dot as a velocity, you can interpret Newton's law in your own way. So what happens, that you have to move from point A to B, you have finite distance, and if you have finite velocity, then in finite time it is possible to show that you can able to move from A to B. So here I have another kind of convergence that comes into picture, that is called finite time convergence. So in finite time, if I apply on-off control, then I can give guarantee that I will converge to the equilibrium point exactly. Now you can take any kind of bounded disturbance. So criteria is that disturbance should not exactly known to me, but somehow I am able to know the maximum value of disturbance. It means that if you have practical system, I will apply some signal, I will slowly I am increasing the gain. After some time, you are able to see that means behavior of the output is not going to change. It means that that is the maximum value of disturbance that is acting on the system. In that way, you can predict and able to tune this gain, means based on hit and trial, and mathematical way people are doing like this. So one more point here, now why I have defined this kind of equation at v equal to 0. So you can see that v equal to 0 here, that will take -1 to +1. So first you see the simulation, and after that I will tell you the physical interpretation of this. So simulation is like this. I have taken same system. Here I am assuming that dt is nothing but sin t. So I am assuming I have disturbance something like sin t. So for simulation always you have to assume something. So you can see here that my initial velocity v is 1. So here x and v has no difference. I have told you that either you can assume v or x. So my coordinate frame is such like I am assuming x equal to v. So in finite time you are able to converge here. And once you are going to converge here, at that time what happens, you can see that this kind of signal, response of signal here, this become fully blue, and that is oscillating about this point, that is u equal to 0, that is -2 +2 -2 +2 or -1 +1, because I have applied k equal to 1. Due to that reason this signal is -1 and +1. And what is beauty here, once that will converge here, you are also able to estimate the disturbance. So exact value of disturbance is known to me. So now you can see that what is beauty of this control. So one of the beauty of this control, that after converging towards the equilibrium point in finite time from here we can, now perhaps you understood why I am talking about finite time. After finite time you can see that I am able to reconstruct the disturbance, and due to that reason this on-off control is also called disturbance observer. So sometime you have to estimate the fault or something like that. At that time also you are able to use this kind of control action to estimate that kind of fault. Another point, you can see that at v equal to 0, this is not 0. So by simple Newton's law, how to give guarantee that this is going to remain here, because v dot is now not 0, because that is going to lie inside -1 to 1. So now here two different kind of, you might have seen that Newtons have proposed two different kind of velocity. One velocity is called average velocity, that is also called a speed. Another is called instantaneous velocity. So whatever v dot, that is qualified for instantaneous velocity. So here instantaneous velocity is non-zero, but average, if you calculate the average velocity, and how to calculate the average velocity, because whatever control action I am using, that is rate of change. So rate of change is velocity, So basically that is this. So average of this signal from this, that is 0. It means that average velocity is 0, but instantaneous velocity is non-zero. So instantaneous velocity is rejecting the disturbance completely, and average velocity give guarantee that system is going to stay here. And if you pass this system, means right hand side, by low pass filter, then what happens? You are able to reconstruct this kind of disturbance. So due to that reason, this control action has several beauty. First beauty is finite time convergence. So in finite time, but in PID controller you might have seen that I cannot talk about finite time convergence. Another beauty is that you can take any class of disturbance if that is bounded, and if your actuator is sufficient enough to tolerate the control action K that is greater than dt, then you are, after some time you feel insensitivity, means fully you are able to converge to the equilibrium point. And third beauty, it is possible to estimate the disturbance exactly also. So due to that reason, on-off control, whenever I have defined here v equal to 0, -1 to 1, because by seeing this simulation, and this is called set valued, multi-valued representation of signum function, and this is motivation of sliding mode control. So basically what happens in on-off control, this is -1, +1, and v equal to 0, this is 0. But whenever you are talking about sliding mode control, at that time v equal to 0, I have to do this kind of definition. Then only I can give guarantee that at the equilibrium point I am going to remain there, and I am also going to estimate the disturbance. And finite time convergence, because rate of change is constant. I have already explained this to you. So now this is the geometrical way. Sometime I have told you that two pictures, one is quantitative picture, one is qualitative picture. So sometime qualitative picture is also important, and using another picture, it is possible to calculate the time of convergence also. So now using idea of distance, actually if you see the literature, in literature people are defining Lyapunov function, but most of time people are not aware with the Lyapunov function, and due to that reason I am going to take the help of distance. So what we are telling that if I have some kind of initial condition, so with respect to equilibrium, I can calculate your, excuse me,
Hello, Sham sir. Hello, Kamal sir.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Actually, you're unmute yourself.
Sir, please unmute yourself. All the participants are requested to please remain mute during the presentation.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Now voice is coming, sir.
Okay. So how much time I have?
Sir, almost 10 to 15 minutes, sir.
Okay. I will close my lecture within that particular time.
Okay. Okay, sure.
So you can see here that even if you are not knowing Lyapunov function, because most of time, since whenever you are applying some kind of, whenever you are talking about on-off control or sliding mode control, at that time Lyapunov analysis is required. But first year student or beginners are not aware about the Lyapunov function. So how to substitute that kind of analysis? But I hope that all of you are already learned or some kind of idea about the distance. Distance is nothing but some kind of absolute value we are telling. So suppose that you are at origin, so either you are in left hand side and right hand side. Suppose if you are in between and someone asks you that you have 2 points, one in your direction of your face and 1 point B in your B hand, then I am able to tell that distance of point A and B is always positive, means either 5 kilometer we are telling, we are never telling -5 kilometer. And so that kind of idea is give us that kind of idea is nothing but generalization of the distance. So whenever we are talking about distance, it means that at Vt equal to 0, distance should be 0, and Vt should be always positive, and that will satisfy the triangular inequality. So that is the generalized idea of distance. Now, using idea of distance, it is possible to calculate the time of convergence. So basically, how to do that? So you can see the distance is always positive. So now you have to just make rate of change equal to negative. So if some quantity is positive and rate of change is negative, so you have already seen that we will converge towards dt equal to 0. Actually, distance, whenever we are talking about distance in two-dimensional space also, that is some kind of a scalar quantity. So again, you can apply Newton's law. Even if in 3 dimension, we are talking about distance d square equal to x square plus y square plus z square. And there are different notions of distance. Means if you have means some kind of interest, then please try to see the norm linear space. So you can define distance in several different ways. So here, first I have defined distance as a absolute value in terms of absolute value. But what is problem? If I define distance like this, Vt minus 0, so I know my equilibrium point, and I know initially I am at Vt. So I have defined like this. So distance is actually changing with respect to time. And after that, I try to calculate the rate of change of distance. And you all are well aware that if that is absolute value, then that is not differentiable. And due to that reason, I have changed the notion of distance. And but you have to make sure that everything remains the same. Means at v equal to 0, distance should be 0, v should be positive, and that will satisfy the triangular inequality. So, and this kind of idea we are actually learned in first year of mathematics. So dt I have defined half v square. If you have two-dimensional, then you can define vx square plus vy square, vx square vy square plus vz square in 3 dimensions. And after that, I will take d dot. And whenever you are taking d dot, so automatically this dynamics will involve, because v square I have, so vt and v dot. And due to that reason, what happens now? If you substitute everything in terms of distance, then finally this kind of differential equation comes into picture. And means by variable separation, it is possible to solve this differential equation. And here, just you can see that at 0, I am not at 0, so d0 I am assuming, because I am assuming that I have a start from some non-zero point. And due to finite control action, because by analysis we know that I am going to converge at some point in at equilibrium in finite time. So due to that reason, I am integrating from 0 to t, and this is equal to 0. So in this way, I am able to calculate the time. So if you have this disturbance also, then time is coming like this. If you have no disturbance, then you are able to exactly predict the time. Otherwise, you are only able to predict the upper bound of the time. So in this way, it means that if you do not know the Lyapunov analysis, then also you are able to talk about stability just by defining the distance. And you know how to define the distance in Euclidean distance like x square, y square, z square. Similarly, vx square, vy square, vz square in 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional system. So similar way, it is possible, not for all system, some class of system. Now let us try to see that how to design some kind of control based on on-off action. So I have taken very simple circuit here. This is the switched control RL circuit. This is called DC chopper. It might possible you might be aware about this. So I have here inductor, here I have resistor, and what is my aim? Here you can see that here I have switch, so I can on and off this switch, and I have to maintain certain kind of current across this particular resistor. So I have you all are knowing that means if I just connect here, then some kind of a specific current is going to flow through this. But now I am telling that I can maintain any amount of current between 0 to I max by switching these two. So I have same circuit, but I can get different output. So that is our aim. And from KVL and KCL, you all are well aware. So I am not going to tell that how basically this equation comes into picture. Just you can see here that if u equal to 1, then v is incorporated here. If u equal to 0, then this is not incorporated here. Now this is tracking problem. I have told you that I have my objective is to maintain some kind of a specific current, that is ID. So due to that reason, I have taken ID. And one more important point, I have told you that whenever you are solving tracking problem, be sure that that should be differentiable. If you are taking triangular wave, then you are not able to exactly track at the non-differentiability point. Similarly, if you want to maintain some kind of current, that is their form is some kind of a square, you are not able to exactly generate because we lost the differentiability at whenever we have sharp point that comes into picture. And after calculating S dot, now I have to just make S, you can assume that is less than 0. It means that I have to track means whatever signal IT that is lesser than ID. So due to that reason, I have to make this switch on. And after that, just you have to give guarantee that S dot should be positive. So S is negative and S dot is positive, then I can move towards S equal to 0. We have already seen from the Newton's analysis. And for that, this kind of things you have to give guarantee, means whatever ID I am going to select and Imax is here, that is V by R. So this much of current I can generate using this particular circuit. This is the maximum current. So only I am able to track those class of signal which will satisfy this kind of inequality, because I have to maintain S less than 0 and S dot greater than 0. Similarly, here if S greater than 0 means if I try to cross the I equal to ID, at that time I have to switch the control action, so off action, and again I have this kind of condition comes into picture. So I have to combine both conditions. So if some ID will lie between 0 to Imax, and by adjusting the L and R, I am able to track the ID. So this kind of condition comes into picture. And what is our switching policy? So you can see that I can design switching policy like this: half one signum S, and you know how to define S. S is IT into ID, and you know what is IT. IT is basically current due to that chopper circuit. So in this way, I can design the control action. And I have told you that whenever we are at equilibrium point, I have to give guarantee that I will be there. So equivalent control, people are telling that because somehow some inherent control is going to act. So equivalent value of equivalent control should be this. So that should be also lie between 0 to 1, because I am only applying control either 0 or 1. So by seeing this particular expression and this particular expression, I can decide what kind of reference signal one can track using this LR circuit. And you know that I can change L, R, and V. So by changing this, I am able to maintain any value of ID based on on-off control. Even if some uncertainty, then also I can do. So till now, I have just talked about the sliding mode control for first order system. So if I have first order system, their analysis is very, very easy. I am online, and after that, I have to just make sure that value of gain should be greater than the maximum value of disturbance. But suppose I have second order system, because most of time if you are dealing with the physical system, then that is second order, third order, fourth order. So try to see the same idea how to extend for second order, and similar way you can extend for third order. But in this lecture, I am going to just talk about the second order. So what is the main motivation? So all sliding mode is just based on one simple law, that is whatever we have seen. If I have some kind of first order system like V dot equal to U plus D, and if I select U equal to minus K signum V, and if K is greater than D, then I am always going to converge towards the equilibrium point. But here my system order is second, and whatever result we have seen for on-off control or sliding mode control, that is only applicable for first order. So somehow convert this second order system into first order. Same like PI control also, I have told you that if somehow using some kind of transformation, if I decoupled or come to the first order system, then analysis become very, very easy. So here also again people have tried in the same way. So what they are going to do, they are telling that okay, I have second order system, it means that system trajectory is going to lie inside this plane. After that they have introduced some kind of line, but you can introduce any kind of curve, but you have to make sure that that curve should be passed through the 0, because finally you have to converge to this point. So here I am assuming this curve is linear, and it is possible to show that in two-dimensional space this line is just one dimension, and this is called, in mathematics, this is called manifold. So how to select this line? Any linear line you can select, C1 x1 plus x2. So here also you can multiply with C2, but for simplicity purpose, I'm assuming this is C1 x1 plus x2. C1 is some kind of constant, and based on an analysis, I am going to prove that C1 is greater than 0. So if you plot C1 x1 plus x2 equal to 0, you might have seen that this kind of line will come into picture. So please try to plot using MATLAB. After that, x2, now try to convert this system in coordinate of this. Here I am going to again highlight. Here you can see that I have second order system means x1 is some kind of real number, because I have told you that I am talking about physical system. So whatever input and output data, that should be real. So I am assuming x1 is real, x2 is real, so and c1 is real. So multiplication of two real number is again real, and x2 is real. So finally s is real. So I have one dimensional system in terms of s now. So somehow I have to convert this system into two decoupled system, same like PI controller. In the case of PI controller, so I am going to introduce this kind of transformation, and after that I am going to select control, again feed forward control plus feedback control. So feed forward term C1 x1 I am going to cancel, because I have designed C1 by ourselves, and I am assuming x2 is known to me. And after doing this, you can see that if I select v equal to minus k signum x, then what happens? S dot equal to minus k signum s, and s belongs to R. Due to that reason, after finite time, s equal to 0. And if s equal to 0, then I have reduced order system, that is x1 dot equal to minus c1 x1. So again, by Newton's first law, because x1 belongs to R, so I can apply same kind of law for the analysis, x1 dot equal to minus c1 x1. So if c1 is positive, then I will converge past the equilibrium. And due to that reason, c1 we are selecting positive. And how to select the value of k? Because dt is here, so k should be greater than t. So using two kind of, so this system, below system is fully decoupled. If we will see in coordinate frame of s, and after some time what happens? First system is also become decoupled once you are converged to here. Due to that reason, we have two phase. One phase is reaching phase. So reaching phase, this whole dynamics is active. Once you are here, then what happens? S is 0 and s dot is also 0. So what happens? I have x1 dot equal to minus cx1. So finally, I am going to converge towards this. So I can give guarantee that x1 is asymptotically 0. Now I cannot talk about finite time convergence. Why? Because you can see that this is nothing but x dot u governed by proportional control. Same like that. Now s is 0 and x1 is asymptotically 0, and here s is 0, x1 is asymptotically 0. So there is no option for x2. That should be 0. So in this way, we are telling that all trajectory that is start anywhere, that is going to converge here. And in this way, I am designing. This is the design of sliding surface. This is design of control. So you can just club here, and after that you can apply here. Then you are able to prove or show that x1 and x2 both goes to 0 asymptotically, not infinite time now. Because s is 0 infinite time, but s is 0, but x1 is asymptotic. Due to that reason, x2 is asymptotic. Similarly, similar kind of things you can extend for third order or fourth order. So what I'm going to show using, I have taken some second order system. I have first designed proportional controller. I'm assuming x1 and x2 both are available to me. And after that, but in several scenarios, you might have seen that only x1 information is available, but x2 is not available. So at that time, you have to design observer. So I'm not going to discuss that in this particular lecture, but there are several standard papers are available who are talking that if x1 is available, then only x1 is available, then how to reconstruct x2 and design the control action. If I have sliding mode control, you can see that now I am getting exact convergence, but here I am getting this kind of control action after some time. So this kind of control action is somehow dangerous for the mechanical system, because I have some kind of on-off behavior once trajectory will converge to the equilibrium point, and that is called chattering. That may excite the unmoduled dynamics of the system, and due to that reason, continuous higher order sliding mode control comes into picture. Means how to achieve sliding mode control using continuous control action. So that is current area of research. So and that research actually comes into picture after 2016, and that is my PhD contribution. So you can able to see that if you have mechanical system, then using continuous control, how to achieve same kind of behavior. So now it is time for the conclusion. So what is main theme of this lecture? So in this lecture, I reviewed the well-known PID controller. So we have able to understand that why people have proposed PID controller, because they know they have present information, past information, and future information. So how to combine all information to compensate the error. So that is the main motivation of that. And after that, we have seen that based on Newton's law, how to design the gains. And we have also seen the geometrical, because most of time I have just used the Newton's law. In some slide, I have used the idea of eigenvalue, and after that, notion of distance. And I have already told you that if you are working with the mechanical system, then higher order sliding mode control. So that is the next. If you understood this, then it is possible to understand the higher order sliding mode control also. And and after that, suppose x1 is available, then how to construct x2? One can construct using observer and differentiator. That is also one of the very good area. So with this remark, I am going to close the today's lecture. Now it is time for the question.